Okay, I am back from my trip. It was so much fun. It was such a long time to be away from my family. I am so glad I went. I did so well up until like the night before we came home, and I got like so homesick and just knew I had to fly, let's see, like 18 hours on a plane to get home. And I just wanted so badly to be home. I just wanted to like snap my fingers and be home. But the experiences that I had there and like the memories I made with my like parents and siblings was priceless. It was so much fun. Yeah, I felt like a kid again, hanging out with all of my grown siblings and my parents. The freedom, every time I travel, I feel this like tremendous gratitude for my recovery, because I traveled so many years with my eating disorder and didn't really, it was kind of like a waste. Like I didn't make memories. I mean, my memories were like, you know, my disordered way of ordering at restaurants and doing workouts in hotel rooms. Honestly, those were the memories I had when I was sick. And so traveling now, actually making memories and actually having fun and not feeling like the stress or guilt or anxiety that comes with traveling is absolutely unbelievable. I think we tallied up yesterday. We were thinking, I think we spent like 65 hours in a 12-seater van with 11 people. A lot of that was with like luggage, like, and I'm extremely claustrophobic, right? I don't have a fear of sitting anymore, but I'm very claustrophobic. So like the flying was really hard for me to get on the plane. And one of the seats one of the long flight, like 15-hour flights, I was in the middle of two people, and that kind of claustrophobia was hard. But the cool thing about it was, because I rewired my brain to overcome so many other fears in my recovery, I was able to like mentally tough it out and just be like, you're going to be fine. It's going to be fine. If you need to get up, you can get up. You can ask them to move. It's going to be fine. You're okay. You're not trapped. Like that feeling of panic that came over me when I started feeling that claustrophobia, when the guy in front of me put his seat back, you know how you can recline it? It was like in my face. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I was able to get through it. And I honestly think it was because one of the tools I practiced in my recovery obviously was like taking deep breaths, calming my brain down, and being okay. Anyways, a little tangent about that. But I think we drove about like 65 hours in that van. And I think it was like 48 hours on a plane, because we flew, obviously there was a long time, and then we flew over from Auckland to Sydney. And then anyways, it was a lot of flying. But it was so nice to actually just, aside from like the physical discomfort of sitting for 13 hours, my back hurting and stuff, it was so nice to just acknowledge the fact that I didn't have any anxiety about that. Physical discomfort a little bit, but no anxiety. No like, oh my gosh, I have to get up and move, or oh my gosh, I can't eat now because I've been sitting so much today. None of that. Honestly, none of that. And it was such a wonderful thing to experience. Probably more than anyone else on that trip, because they didn't go through hell and back to get to that point, right? So I feel like I don't take that stuff for granted, and I'm so glad I don't, because it feels so good to be grateful. It feels so good to be grateful for those things. Same thing with, you know, we ate out for every meal for 2 weeks. So 14 times 3, 42? 14, 28, 42. Yeah, 42 meals back to back to back to back to back of eating out. I did that a lot in recovery. Never did I do 3 meals every single day for 2 weeks, but because I ate out a lot in recovery, and because I've been recovered for a while, piece of cake, breeze, actually quite enjoyable. So I don't have to cook, don't have to clean up, to have all different kinds of like, all different kind of different ethnicities, like different ethnic foods. I think we hit up like every ethnic food you could have, all different kinds of chocolates. Oh my gosh, the chocolate was amazing. Oh my gosh, I had the best gelato I've ever had at Manly Beach. Anyone from Australia maybe has heard of Anita's Gelato, and if you ever go there, you have to go try it. The best gelato I've ever had in my life, even more than all the places we went in Italy, so that's saying a lot. And it was so wonderful just to sit there and enjoy that, again, without any kind of guilt robbing me of that enjoyment, truly just savoring it and enjoying it. So I tell you these things not to like, you know, regardless of where you're at in recovery, obviously, if you're listening to this video, you're not, I'm assuming, fully recovered. And I don't tell you this to like rub it in your face and be like, look at me, look at me. I don't at all. I tell you this because I want you to know that there's hope. I want you to know that no matter how sick you are, how much you struggle, how much you may not think you're that sick and don't really need to go through recovery, you do, because unless you can do those things, unless you can go and travel guilt-free, unless you can eat out and not have fears around what you're ordering, or feeling like you have to modify things, or feeling like you've got to move when you can't sit for extended periods of time, you do deserve to continue to be in recovery, to fully recover, because it is so worth it. And everyone should be able to experience that. Okay. So I hope that this video doesn't come across as, look at me. Oh my gosh, look at me. Not at all. I worked my freaking butt off to be able to do that. And I'm so glad that I did. And so if you're in the middle of working your freaking butt off right now and it's feeling hard, keep going. Keep going. Something I want to touch on real quick, in addition to kind of a recap of my vacation, is the fear that people have of developing, negative health conditions through or from their recovery, right? So people will ask me or write in questions like, I'm so worried I'm gonna develop type 2 diabetes, or I'm so worried, I'm gonna develop high blood pressure or a heart condition or high cholesterol or all these things. I'm so worried that that's gonna happen. And I hear you, I understand, but I also understand that having an eating disorder is like the worst. I know that mental torment that you experience every day is awful. And I know that when I went into recovery, I understood that those were things that could potentially maybe happen. There's no guarantee. I didn't know that I was gonna recover and not have any complications, or recover and have tons of complications. I didn't know, but I knew that I had to heal my mind, because I knew that I was not actually living. And I guess had the wherewithal to be like, you know what? If I recover, mentally rewire my brain, if I develop high blood pressure and I have to take some medication, or type 2 diabetes and I have to take some medication, or cholesterol or whatever, obviously it's not ideal to have to take medication, but it's a lot more ideal than living with your eating disorder your whole life, because you're afraid that you might have to take medication, right? And so I just want you to kind of think about that and ask yourself, are you allowing those fears of what could possibly happen through your recovery to become excuses and to become reasons why you're not recovering, when in actuality it's just sheer fear? You're just terrified, really terrified of gaining weight. Now, I understand that you have a fear of feeling like you're becoming less healthy through recovery, and it might feel like that temporarily, but you are becoming not only mentally more healthy, but you really are becoming more physically healthy. And that's a process, and that's gonna look messy, and it's not gonna always be linear. But as you are freeing your mind, your body's gonna figure out how to be the most healthy version of itself for you. You don't have to micromanage that. And that, again, might feel really uncomfortable when you're going through it, but your body's eventually gonna settle into a place where it wants to be, and where, with the mental rewiring, you're going to be able to learn how to accept. Okay? So that's my message to you today. No excuses. Recovery is so worth it. So worth it. And anytime I travel like that, I'm reminded even more so. On a day-to-day basis, absolutely, it's worth it. But especially when you're able to go and do fun, really fun things that your eating disorder didn't let you do in the past, or perhaps went through the motions of doing but didn't really get to enjoy. If you're still alive, you still have an opportunity to get there. So keep going. All right, have a good day.